Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Kim here, and today I'm doing a Beebeecraft product review. Now I am an affiliate with them, and as the product or as the title and the description tell you, yes, it is a paid promotion because I get product from them. I get to choose the products that I want to work with, and in exchange, the products are free, and I may also earn commission if you buy some of their products. If you like some of the products, all the links are below in the description, as well as a link to their site where you can see all the different things that they have. And even though I'm an affiliate for them, I'm also a customer as well, because there is so much on there that is so fun for the type of things that we do that I would never be able to do enough videos in order to be able to buy all the wonderful things that I want to buy. So yeah, I am a customer as well. And if you want to become a customer, you can use my code down below that gives you a 10% discount when you put your order together. And there are other Beebeecraft affiliates that also offer discounts, and they show you other products. So do a search on Beebeecraft affiliates or Beebeecraft unboxing and such to find other YouTubers that are also doing videos for them. Another thing, if you are a YouTube channel and you have as low as, and I don't want to say low because it's not really low, if you have 100 subscribers, a minimum of 100 subscribers, you can become an affiliate with them as well. And I've got the links below for you to look into becoming an affiliate for them. It's a great way to get some great new products to play with and to showcase them for other people to see that they may want to go and buy these products. So check out the links below to find out more information. So I have this stamp set. Now, I know it wasn't very much. I think it was around $3-ish, in Canada. I'm not sure. I do believe I have the price in the description. So it was very well worth buying this. This is a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kind of invoice pieces. Some of them are in French, some are in English. And then there's also this little postcard stamp and a little cancellation stamp. So it is a fun set to work with. And now in looking at this set, you may think, well, like I could take this stamp right here and stamp it and get this onto a piece of paper. And I'm going to be honest with you, I am not a very good stamper. Not at all. And I've never really used my stamps as a means to like make cards where they have to be absolutely, perfect and lined up, because I end up getting ink everywhere, and I smudge them. They never line up perfectly. There's always a space in the middle that doesn't get stamped. So I've never been really keen on using my stamps in that method. But one of the fun things that I realized with this set, and there are a few other sets you could do this with as well, is a great way to use these in a full size or in the full size image is to take this overlay, this sheet that has all the stamp imprints on it. I photocopy these and I make my own sheets that I can cut up. And they are in black on whatever background I want to put them on. And this is the protector for protecting all of my stamps and to be able to see what I have. But yes, I do make the sheets, and then I cut out the pieces as I want, or I tear them up for collage, however you want to work with it. And you can even further enhance these, which I will show you in a little bit. So that is how I use the stamps in the full size. I don't very often, if but I have this stamparatus, and yes, I can line it up and, I have the piece of foam here. I'm not going to embarrass myself by doing it. And you can line it up, and then if you miss a spot, you can ink it and press it down again. And you can do multiples in that method, but I'm not often doing multiples. To be honest with you, when I want something like this, I just want it really quick and fast. And so I find that the photocopying is the easiest way to do it in a hurry. But there are times when I use something like this that my I don't know, okay, it's called a stamparatus. I always call it my Stampalicious. I don't know why. I can never remember the name. And it's from Stampin' Up. But I find that the easiest way is, again, to photocopy them if I want to use them in the full size. So I will show you this method in a second. But if you don't, there's other methods that you can do with it. But because I don't really care to use them in the full size, this one I might use in full size, and this one, I doubt I'll use this one in full size, or this one. It's pretty generic, and so I often cut them up. And I know that's like, you're horrified probably thinking, why would she cut them in half or cut them in? Because I really only want a little bit of an imprint on something. So quite often I will just take, a stray piece of paper, and I'm just going to grab one of these little block things, and just put this on here. And I know that 9 times out of 10, it's not going to stamp perfectly. Somewhere I have a piece of foam here. I should get this out of the way temporarily. So I have a piece of foam here, and I'm just going to try stamping it on one of these papers. Just to show you. So often I will just stamp it. And I know you're supposed to wait like 3 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever it is you wait. And then take it off and then use it as a small piece. I really don't necessarily want a full-size piece, which is why I do things like this. And then wherever there's a spot that hasn't come through, I will take another one of the stamps. Got 2 here. So I've got this little postcard one, and I'm going to use a little bit of red this time. And I will go where there's that kind of smudgy looking spot. Do it the right way, Kim. And further enhance it with another stamp. So I've got this one. And this is how I like to use these pieces. I like them more as small little bits of ephemera that I can use for embellishing. And I try to make them look like little tickets sometimes, which I will show you as well. And so that is how I normally use these stamps. So I have no problem cutting these into pieces that are more manageable and that work well for whatever project I want to use them for. So just taking another stamp, I was using this one earlier today. I will, if I want to use my stamp machine, whatever this is called, I will line up the paper. I'm just going to cut this straighter because I tore it. So many little things on the table, right? And I don't line it up perfectly, but you would take your stamp, line it up on the paper where you want it to stamp, and use your stamp tool. Now, there are many different types of these tools. So now that I have it lined up, I don't want the paper to move. This thing, I think, comes with magnets. Again, something I don't use. And then now I've inked it up in the black. I'm just going to give it a quick stamp here. And that came out pretty good. So then I just would leave that where it is if I were to do these in mass production. And then again, line up the paper and stamp again. So it is a great tool to work with your stamps when you just want to do some small pieces. So I can do this one, and then I'll go back to that other one that I had cut. And I can do the same thing with the one that I cut using this method instead of using the block. But you have to have one of these tools, right? So I just as soon work with it the way it is, and not worry about having this tool unless you are doing, you know, an awful lot of stamping where you needed to make sure. Now this is probably going to have a mark because there is probably some ink on it right now. Yeah, it's going to leave a little mark, but I can use this tool if I'm mass producing. If I have this tool, or if you have this tool, you can use it certainly. But it's something you can. This is much more manageable to just stamp on its own without having to worry about it not working, if that makes sense. So there it is again. You know, it's just a piece of a stamp. I'm going to cut these pieces up to use as tickets, you know, ephemera bits, embellishment bits, that type of thing to go in my journals. So I'm not going to bother to show you more of this. This is a tool that you have to have in order to be able to do this. So it's not something I really want to show you, but it is an option. And I know it's a great option for making sure that your stamps stamp straight and perfectly. But again, it goes back to what are you doing with it? If you are doing mass production, you may want to have a tool like that. And I think Beebeecraft might even sell those tools. But for me, often it's just one or two things that I want to do. And a lot of times I really want to just stamp all of these little strips that I have. I take strips off of the edge of paper from when we're doing, when I'm cutting up a digital. There's pieces of paper from that. We always have that 1/2 inch strip or 1/4 inch strip or 3/4 inch strip that we cut off of some paper to make something fit. I'm just looking for different ones here. This is a piece of coffee stained paper that had some writing on it. I guess I used the writing, and that's the leftover strip. I have a book page here that has a little bit of a margin. I keep all these things, and then I use them to make washi tape. And that is really, and I've got a bigger piece here. Yeah, let's use that one too. That is really what I like to use these things for. Or use my stamps for. So that's enough to get us started. Just get that out of my way. And I like to have a surface to work on. And I will take these strips and I will just put a little bit of glue, not much, just enough to catch these strips so that they don't move much. So that I know I can lift them off the paper afterwards. And if they tear, it's not a big deal. I'm just putting enough glue to just kind of tack it in place. And this is just a cardboard piece that I've, you know, started stamping on and using for this purpose. And I will take, you know, I will take my blocks, and sometimes I'll just use my hands. But I will take my blocks and put these stamps and ink them up. Sorry, I have to subject you to this, but, and depending on which direction I want to go here, and I will just ink onto the, or yeah, stamp onto these strips, knowing that it's not going to be perfect. I'm not looking for perfection. And you can see I've got a little bit of a white space in there. Probably should have had this foam underneath. Too late for this one, but I will go on to doing something with something else. And doing several at a time allows me to overlap. And then switching out and using another stamp. I'm going to use this one that I had used on the board. Now, these are not overly inked stamp pads that I'm using. And so you can see it's coming through on the different pieces. Now I just want this little bit here on the end. And so I'm going to now stamp that here on the end. And yeah, it works much better with the foam, doesn't it? And then I will do this next one. I'm just going to do a strip along the top here. And then so on, using the different stamps. But I've done quite a few already, so I'm just going to, maybe I'll just finish this one a little bit here by adding this at the end. And this is how I love to make washi tape. But we're not finished with this yet. I should fix this one though, right? And that one I can do after. Okay, so I think I'm got this piece of foam. Put it this way underneath here. And then I'm going to overlap on this one. And that's the fun part, is if you're overlapping them, it doesn't really have to match perfectly. And I've got this one here on the end. And there are a couple more that I've done. So now taking these same strips, I'm going to go back to this little cancellation. And you can do these in any colors you want. I'm just doing this one in the red. And I'm going to add one here. And then, well, maybe I'll add it over here. Let's do this one. This is my most favorite way of using these and making some different washi strips. And you can do this on your stickers. It's not something you haven't seen before, probably. I mean, other people have done this. This is just how I like to work with these stamps. I don't like to work with them in the full. So I'm going to stamp a couple here. Now, there is one trick that I'm going to show you that I don't think too many people have shown you this yet. It's going to be something you're learning today. All right, so then I've got that little cancellation or a postcard stamp. I'm going to use that as well. And I think that looks good like that. I'm going to do one in here. So wherever it hasn't filled in perfectly or it looks a little bit off, that's where I go in and stamp over it with something else. So then it looks more like you've planned it that way. Now I'm going to do this one, and then I will show you them all up close. Oh, that's upside down. Oh, well. Should have seen that before. Okay, so these are now my washi strips that I use in my collage. And here's another one here. Now this is that book page that had a little bit of book page on the edge. So it's that margin piece that I just tore off and made into this beautiful little washi strip that I can use for my collage. And here again, this could be a ticket. This could be torn up. This could be used for collage or as washi or a little tuck spot or a pocket. You can further enhance this with some lace and trims and ribbons. So lots of possibilities for turning this little piece of paper into something fun that you can add into your journals. And so that's why I love these mixed stamp sets like this. I'm just bringing the cover over, but that's why I really love these mixed stamp sets, because you can do so much with just taking a little section and filling in strips and pieces like this. Now, one of my favorite things to do is to ink the edges. Now, when you're inking the edges on pieces of paper, you know how hard it can be. They're flimsy. You don't always get the ink going in the right spot for yourself. You have to hold it right at the edge. It's sometimes a nightmare to stamp or to ink the edges on these pieces. Doesn't matter what color you're doing. One of my favorite things to do is to take an acrylic block, or it could be a piece of plastic, or it could be a piece of glass, any type of work surface. You've seen this done with different things. And I will lay my ink onto the block. Sorry, I just bumped the camera. And add a little bit of water. And this is my most favorite way to ink projects. I will start to sort of scrape the water all into one area. So I start to just slide it over, and you can see how it's bleeding onto the paper. And sometimes it goes in further, depending on how much I've done that to the edges. And so I'm just going around the edges like this, sort of scraping it into one line. Going around all of the sides. And then I lay it down somewhere to dry. But this gives your piece a whole new look. So now it looks like a finished collage piece that you've framed the edges of it. And it doesn't matter the size. It always turns out nice, no matter how you're doing them. So just scraping along the edges, or pushing the water in along the edges of with your paper. This is the easiest way to ink the edges for these kinds of projects. So give it a try. You don't even have to do it for your stampings. You could also do this for your fussy cut pieces and things that you've cut out. You can go along and ink the edges this way. Fun way to do this, especially if you're cutting out really fussy stuff. So you see how different this looks now by adding that little bit of inking on the edge. I'm going to finish off and do this one. And these are now all ready to go. Or to be used. And it's fun how far this goes. And you would have inked and inked and inked to go around these edges, and you can have this done in seconds around the edges of your piece. Now, going back to these ones that I printed, I can do exactly the same thing by just cutting out or tearing out. Actually, I'm going to tear this one out. Probably could have torn it easier with a ruler, but that would have made sense. So I'm just going to tear it out this way now. Actually, I think I'll keep that piece too. I think what I'm going to do is let that one scoop up the rest of the red ink, and I'm going to do brown around the edges of this one. There really isn't too much more on here anyway. Yeah. I'm just going to take this now and wipe it off. You can also use this to make some spots on your pieces and mop up the rest of it. So I've got a little bit of pink going on in here now. I hope you can see that. Sort of pinky red. Little splotches. So I'm going to wipe this off just a little bit. And I'm going to take my brown. Oh, this one doesn't have a, this one, the foam is too short. Well, I just so happen to have a couple of re-inkers here, so I'll just take a little bit of brown ink and drop that on. This is the espresso. Oop, that's a little much. That's okay. Okay, because I'm using the full strength, I'm just going to spread that out a little bit and maybe add a little bit more water. Okay, so the same thing, I'm just going to take the edges of my paper and just slowly bring it into, sort of scraping along to kind of bring the water together. Fun way to give a very gradual edging to your piece. And there it's instantly framed. It's also bleeding into the ink a little bit, which adds some even more interest to it. And then I can further enhance this by adding things like labels and more ink stamping. So I've got my little cancellation here. And so now this will be the full strength red compared to the little bits of red that I spread out on the paper here. And is that going in the right direction? Yes. And this isn't really the right piece to use this postcard stamp on, but I'm just using it just for the sake of showing you. And I can tuck that in there somewhere just to give me a little pop of the red color on this piece. And you can see now how much the brown has spread the color, and also because this was inkjet ink, it's also bleeding a little bit as well, but it gives you a really nice effect with the stamp. So that is some of the different ways that I use these and how I trim the edges. Now I've got this one here, since I've got this brown ink here on the table or on this board. I'm just going to take this one and do I want to tear the edges? No, I'm going to leave them straight. And I'm just going into this again, scraping a little bit along the side to just kind of push all the water in one direction. And I've got these little ends at the bottom. And I'm just going to dip them into this little bit of ink that's still on this board. Turn it around, do this side a little bit. So you can see how that has changed as well. And just so I don't get my elbows in it, I'm going to stop right there for now. And put that off to the side. I'm going to be playing for a while with this. since I've got everything out on the table, I'm going to keep going. And so this one, I'm just going to put this cancellation stamp on here as well. And I had pulled out a couple of stickers. I thought I would add that in here. How can you tell I was stamping the tree of life on this stamp pad? It's just a work board, that's all it is. Although it could be quite interesting when it's done. I think I'm going to put this going this way. And maybe some other collage bits could be added onto there, like something like this. Just to fill it in. And now I have a fun little piece of ephemera that I can add into my journal. I can even further enhance this with some washi tape or whatever. And I have a writing space on the back side, or I can turn this into a pocket or a little tuck spot, however I like. So this just gives you some ideas of the different things that you can do with your ink stamps and other ways of doing stamping that are not necessarily, you know, the right way. And I know my friends like Lori, who's a really good stamper, is probably horrified as to how I'm doing these things. But this is how I like to play with my stamps. Now, somewhere here on the table, yes. So I did some other ones. On this one, I added a larger label. I added a floral sticker and then another small label on top. And this was just a combination of stamp, 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 stamp all over the place so that it becomes, it's not necessarily the stamp itself. It becomes what I call background noise. So I'm stamping a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So this piece of paper was just a fun paper to just continue stamping and blobbing, and I will cut this up into strips and pieces to make some tags. But it's a fun way to create other little pieces. And it just becomes noise in the background. That's all it is. And a journaling spot to write on the back side. Here, I've just stamped over top of some labels. So these can be used individually. Or like I've got two here, or put together on a page. Here is where I ink stamped a label. First, I took the label and just dipped it right into the ink to get an all over pink color, like this pinky red. And then I stamped over top with the stamps in the two colors. Some more fun pieces. So you can see I've already been playing for a while. Now this one was done on some yellow lined paper and just ink stamped over top, willy-nilly. No rhyme or reason. It's just to create noise. And some different washi strips. Now, I have no shortage of these end pieces from when you are playing with you know, the old papers that had the side feeds. So these I always keep to ink on and play with. And just some more fun tickets. This one I let the paint or the ink drip on it after it was done. It helps to do that, and then it kind of bleeds the other colors to give you a different effect. And there you have it. This one's just a larger piece with multiple stampings on it. Fun to play with. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you will give it a try, and certainly give a try to inking the edges in this manner. You can see already that it's come through quite nicely. It's pulling, it must be pulling a little bit of the inkjet green in there too, that made the black color. I'm not sure, because I did print these in black, not in color, but that's the effect that I'm getting. Interesting. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you will play around and make some. And it's a great stamp set, so be sure to have a look at Beebeecraft and follow the link if you're interested in getting this stamp set. It is very, very reasonable. Something else I will say is they do offer free shipping when you reach a certain level, and it's really not that hard to get that level, and you will leave with many, many fun little pieces and things to play with. So again, I hope you enjoyed this. I wish you all a very creative day and a creative week, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye for now.